Hello and welcome to another episode of AskBR. My name is Ronak and I'm one of the founders of Fully Filmy, a pop culture store that celebrates everything you love. And we're really excited to partner up with Film Companion South just for you. So, what you guys do is in every episode, you guys send in some amazing questions and BR answers them for you. But we thought we could take it a little notch higher. We wanted to reward you for your curiosity. So, here's the deal. In every episode of Ask BR, the top 3 questions will win free t-shirts and goodies from fullyfilmy.in. So yeah, stay curious and cheers.
Hello and welcome to Film Companion South. In this episode of Ask BR, we are going to be talking about Doctor. Before that, I hope you heard Ronak's message. So the top 3 questions will be getting prizes from Fully Filmy. So stay tuned to our social media handles to know who the winners are. So let's begin with the episode with a question by Rishabh Singh, who asks, do you think Sivakarthikeyan has evolved a lot as an actor and his script choices have become better looking at movies like Hero and Doctor? I think he has, because Hero is a movie that I liked quite a bit, and I don't know why other people didn't so much, because they didn't do that well. But it really kind of worked for me, and Doctor 2 really worked for me. But I think it's also inevitable, because I think heroes are slowly, in the sense that I think that it is not just a Sivakarthikeyan thing. I think all heroes are now having to look at different scripts, different directors, younger directors, people who don't follow the formula, because I think we're all a little tired of, as much as we want Rajni to come and do his intro song and all that, we're still, looking at Anate, I want him to do it in a slightly different manner, because how many times can you keep doing the same thing? And a lot of us, at least in the cities, have come to this decision that we will step out for a movie only if it's really worth it on the big screen, and if the reviews are good. So if the reviews are good, you can't go by formula. So I think it's something that is going to force the evolution of heroes into doing very, very different movies. Surya is doing Vadivasal, Vijay is doing Beast, which again with Nelson, Sivakarthikeyan is doing a movie like a Robo. I think all these things are a result of changing times. Whereas, when you were even in the Kamal Rajni era, or the early Ajit Vijay era, or even mid Ajit Vijay era, you could kind of get away with doing the same thing in different variations, but now you can't do that anymore. So I think this is a very, very inevitable kind of thing. Santosh Roshan asks, do you think having an ensemble cast like in Doctor increases the chance of the story to work better, or is it a writing thing to distribute the burden of carrying the screenplay forward across characters? Also, does having more characters make the writing process easier? Actually, having more characters make the writing very difficult, because you have to kind of endow special memorability to each of the characters. So it's actually very difficult. You have to find, here it's a comedy, but if it's a drama, it's even more difficult, because you have to find a tonality that's consistent yet different from the other characters. So it is very difficult. But I'll tell you why this works. Because Sivakarthikeyan himself is usually the source of comedy in his films, but in Doctor, he cannot be, right? Because he's like the straight guy, he's the robotic guy who says, once I go in for an operation, whether it is a surgical operation or whether it is an operation of finding this girl and bringing her back, I have to leave my feelings outside. I have to be very military, like I have to be very, like without a heart. If he's going to be like this, who's going to provide the laughs in the movie? They've got to be others. So that's where the supporting characters comes in. And in a way, it's very similar to how Nelson did Kolamava Kokila also. He kept Nayanthara very straight. These movies are combinations, right? So Kolamava Kokila is a drama come comedy, black comedy, right? So Nayanthara carries the drama, the supporting characters carry the comedy. Similarly, in Doctor, Sivakarthikeyan carries the drama, the thriller part of it, whereas the back comedy goes to the supporting characters. So it's a great way to separate not lose the intensity of your main story, to show that his focus is still there, but also give the audience some fun, because that way the entertainment factor keeps rolling on even as your serious story keeps rolling on. So I think it's a great idea that to kind of split this into these two things, so that the story can keep going while in a very organic and natural way, while the other person while the other people carry the comedy. And oh boy, has anybody given Yogi Babu better roles than Nelson has in recent times? I don't think so. Yogi Babu needs to really, really thank Nelson. I think he's spectacular in Kolamava. here he's even better. So, Die Hard AV Geek Freak asks, what makes Doctor so good? Is it the essence or just star value? I'm not sure I understand what essence it is, but it's so good because of the writing. The basis of every damn thing in cinema is writing. You cannot just put a star there and expect a good film. It's Nelson's writing, and it's more than that. It's Nelson's quirky mind that can think up all these situations. Imagine having how many train sequence fights have you seen? I mean, how many fights in trains have we seen? Right, billions and billions and billions. It's almost like a cliche. You know, they'll use the rods that people used to cling on to. They will use the windows. Something will happen, or something will happen. But have we ever seen a woman's hairstyle being changed in a train fight sequence? No, that's the quirky thing I'm talking about. His voice is very, very unique, and I think that's what contributes to the success of this film. Speaking of which, another comic voice that I think is really unique in Tamil cinema and is probably not celebrated enough is, I'm sorry if I'm wrong with this name, but I think it's Johnson K. He directed Paris Jairaj recently, the Santanam Vehicle. I was astonished at that movie because they actually wrote a screenplay for that movie. Usually, Santana movies are just a collection of gags thrown around a very loose plot, so you can't even call it a screenplay. Here, they actually wrote a screenplay for the movie, and it's a comic screenplay, which makes it doubly hard, right? Because it's hard enough writing a good screenplay for a drama. It's murder trying to write screenplay for a comedy, and to have all the farce pieces fit in so beautifully. The editing is pinpoint. I mean, here is a movie, Paris Jairaj, that comes after a very long time, where it's a comic movie and it can actually be analyzed as seriously as a dramatic movie. I would advise you all to go and see it if you haven't, because I thought it would be like A1, you know, like a bunch of jokes that kind of, you know, some hit or miss kind of thing, which you know you enjoy generally because, you know, some jokes find the mark. But Paris Jairaj is seriously something that I was very, very impressed by, and I think that director too has a very, very unique sense of comedy, and I think I'm really looking forward to what he does next. Nirmal Kumar Dhanashekaran says, did the numbness of SK's character really add value? I felt his usual happy-go-lucky version would have added laughs. No, that would not have worked at all, because if he's also laughing and everybody else is also laughing, then you don't take the plight of the girl seriously. He is needed to keep us focused so that we know that this is what the serious person is. Like, this is what the seriousness of the mission is. So no, this definitely could not have happened at all. Jay Seelan says, though the treatment is enjoyable as a whole with neatly sketched characters around the protagonist, you think that Vinay's character was a bit loosely written given the build-up of the first half. He's easily outsmarted and outwitted by the hero. I don't agree with this, because see, Vinay is running a resort and he knows what it is to have a cover while doing a business like this. So how difficult is it going to be for Sivakarthikeyan to prove the same thing to him, that I run an ice cream business and I'm also trafficking and whatever? I don't think it's such a great, easy outwitting at all, because there are things to prove to get to the whole thing. So I think it was quite smartly done in a commercial entertainer of this nature. I didn't think it was easily done at all. And several people have said things like, like Vinay Pata Bayame Varla. I mean, what? Well, you can't have a smart villain. It's like why should everyone look like a thug and, you know, carry a sickle or something like that? This guy is this, you know, doing business, and you know, he's treating this like a business. So, and his cover is resort. Why would not he look smart? He would look smart. Kishore says, it's the best film in theatres after Master and Karnan. I hear people complaining humor in serious issues like women trafficking. Just ignore all those people. They don't know how to have fun at movies, and they just want to appear like the most conscientious people on the planet. I mean, just ignore those people. Isn't that how black comedy works? Of course that is how black comedy works. Otherwise you would just call it comedy. You would not call it black fucking comedy. I mean, this question is getting me so mad. Films like True Lies, Jojo Rabbit also have similar things. So yeah, exactly. You know, like if you look at Life is Beautiful, for example, Roberto Benigni's Life is Beautiful, he makes light of the Holocaust. He's like pretending to his son that this is this wonderful, jolly place where everybody is doing things, because the camp, he wants his son to have a good time at the camp. I mean, when you listen to it, it sounds tasteless, but the movie is beautiful. It's moving. You know, those who say things like you know, this subject should only be treated this way and this this subject should only be treated that way, those are the people who should be just like taken and put right into the Bay of Bengal, because they really do not know how to appreciate movies. And I really don't think, I mean, this is the kind of thing that gets me mad, because I saw the movie and I knew there would be people coming out with things like this, like, oh my god, it's how dare they introduce humor into such a subject. The humor is not impeding the understanding. It's not like people are there to see a movie about human trafficking. They're there to see an entertainer. Rishan G said, you said our big stars are now getting more experimental. Why do you think it's starting just now? Is it because new generations like Lokesh and Nelson are able to convince our stars? No, that's one thing. But the other thing is also the stars themselves have begun to understand that the old shit does not work. So it's a combination of both things, because once you have that whole one guy beating up many guy things like doesn't work, you need a reason. See, one of my favorite scenes at Masters is when Vijay finally goes like this first big rampage for fight. It is grounded with such a solid emotion behind it. So it's like it's actually one scene leading to another scene, leading to another scene, leading to another scene, leading to fight. Otherwise, usually what will happen is something will happen. The guy will say, "Go get him," and the next scene would be a fight. So there would be just one transition following to the fight, right? Here there are about 5 or 6 transitions leading up to the fight. I mean, the writing is like really, it's expansive. That's something I really like, and I think people are also tired of the whole thing, because they are seeing all these movies, old movies, over and over again on YouTube and on other things. The directors being able to convince that, look, I can make this really special movie for you by tweaking your flavor a bit, by not giving them the exact same thing. Look, Master succeeded even without a proper duet. Though with Master, I would still be a little careful, because it was about a year after everyone was locked down, and like everybody just rushed to it, because it was like, oh my god, finally there's a movie, and there's a Vijay movie, like the biggest star ever. So that's the kind of thing that happens, so it kind of attracted all that. But I do think that even if Master had been released in a normal time, it would have become a monster hit. I do think so. Yagzan Manju says, why do writers still resort to fat-shaming patriarchal jokes when they could have easily been avoided? Also, I was shocked to see how Arun Alexander's plea to his daughter to shut her ears brought out peals of laughter in the theatre. I agree with this in the sense that it is kind of, it's time that certain types of jokes be removed. But again, I really have this theory that films come from society. It's not that society is shaped by films. It's films are shaped by society. So as long as we in real life continue to do all these things like be patriarchal or be fat shaming, it's one of the things that's become so easy for people to do is, like, especially on Twitter, right? It's like take up a cudgel against one film and say, oh my god, this happened and that happened and this patriarchal thing happened and all that kind of stuff. And they're happy. They've typed out their words. They're happy. They've become their Ramchow warriors, and they're all very happy, right? I mean, like, oh my god, I've done my good deed for the day. Now I'll forever be hailed as this hero who ranted against this film, or this heroine who ranted against this film. But who is doing the real work in society of changing people's mindsets? That's the real question, right? Because if those mindsets don't change, those mindsets are going to find their ways into the people making these films. So that's the real problem, the grassroots level problem. So I think that's where we should concentrate on rather than just typing out a few words and then feeling like a hero and then relaxing. Cinepost says, can Nelson be Nelson in Beast, or does he have to go 50% like Lokesh did in Master? I think 50%, because I don't think Vijay is too big a star and there's too much money riding on the movies so I think it'll be a 50-50 movie, but I'm hoping for a good 50-50 movie, because I really like Master. It was a good 50% Lokesh, good 50% Vijay movie. So even if it reaches that level, I'd be very happy. I mean, I would have been happier had it been more of a Lokesh movie, but let's not. Baby steps. So Vishwanathan Kanalram says, what is the moment which made you say this is the director's movie and not the actor's? For me, the whole sequence of the reason behind the breakup of marriage is the moment, exactly. That breakup of the marriage moment when they have that song, and that's one thing that was like, okay, wow, this is really not supposed to happen in a movie. There's some actual writing going on in there. And it is not just the writing, it is the tonality of the writing. It's not like it's not serious, it's not comic, it's serio-comic kind of thing. It's like when he says, I don't remember the exact word, but she said, எனக்கு தொண்டை வலிக்குதுன்னு சொன்னப்போ என்ன எழுதினாருன்னு கேளுங்க. And then his mother asks, என்னடா எழுதின? And then Sivakarthikeyan says, ஏதோ இந்த டேப்லெட் போட்டுக்கோ இல்லை something like that he says, right? Now that same thing, imagine had it been like everybody, like the mother had done, ஐயோ இப்படி ஒரு பிள்ளை பெற்று வச்சிருக்கேனே or something like that, that would like put quotes around it, right? Nelson is doing none of that. He's letting the scene play on. He's letting the characters be in character, like in character, in that whole ridiculous scenario. He's letting the people. So the point is this. The point is that we are not meant to take it seriously, but Nelson is taking it bloody seriously, and that is how you write seriously. That is really how you write. I mean, that is why I'm saying that these new directors, they really know their job. They know what it is to write. That they know what it is to direct. They know what it is to stage, things. And again, another thing that I was really impressed by was how they used a sad song, which could have been at the end. See, typically what would have happened is like they would have had Chelama right at the beginning, right, or right on top, because that would be that's the big blockbuster. I love the song. It's a big blockbuster, and it's like everybody likes that song. It has this colorful picturization. You put it right on top so that the audience gets this burst of energy at the beginning of the movie, and then they carry on with the rest of the movie, right? But that doesn't happen. You get a sad song instead, and that sad song is filled in slow-mo so much. It's filled so much in slow-mo, so the song seems to crawl and actually slow down the movie instead of like boosting the energy. Why? Because the director at that point, we are supposed to feel the weight of the loss that's happened in that household. So he actually adheres. He's honest to his emotions. He's honest to the emotions in the film, because at that point, Sivakarthikeyan is not a laughing, dancing character. So if you put the Chelama sequence there, that will cut the character's characterization. It will suddenly, you'll see him in the army being like a robotic guy. You'll suddenly see him Chelama, and then like having fun and all that. And then you'll suddenly like see him back to being a robotic guy. So that is a compromise, and we may even say, oh, parvallappa, padathukka pannirukanga, that's okay, let's let's forgive them, because after all, at least the rest of it is no. But Nelson doesn't do that, and that is when you respect a director, because he does not cut the characterization, whether it is in that marriage breaking up scene, or whether it's in not putting Chelama right at the beginning. He does not do it because he knows that would go against the logic of that moment, the internal logic of the movie. And this is called world building. That is why it is called world building. It is not just world building is not just in Avengers or a Marvel or anything like that. In any movie, this is the tonality I'm going for. This is what I'm working towards, and that is why this movie is so good. Varun Chandrasekhar says, apart from the humor and the general tone of the movie that worked very well, I followed like a lot of the character motives and the decisions they made were a little inorganic. I was not able to connect with the conflicts and the stakes at hand at every scene. I guess this is a little inevitable, and even I did feel that some scenes are played a little like they last like a few beats longer than necessary each moment. And I wrote about this. I spoke about this in my review. I think when you're trying to mix these two things together, right, one of them has got to give, and I think you're kind of giving, you're kind of losing some intensity for this. But I was happy with the trade-off, because it was, for me, this track was also working simply because it was taken seriously. And the laugh track was also happening because it was taken seriously. I wish those jokes of the like that woman eating all the time, those things had been removed a bit, and some actual jokes had been there, but maybe by the time it was ready to shoot and they couldn't think of any new things. I don't know what happened there. But I disagree with the inorganic part, because the whole movie is very organic in the sense of, for me, that scene was one of the most wonderful bits of writing, which is to kind of say, dudes, I know who you guys are, and I'm going to show it to you in the most wonderful way. That is the whole point of that scene, right? That's what Vinay wants to do. He knows that these guys are the parents of that girl, and what does he do? He makes the girl bring them their breakfast and start serving them one by one. And this moment plays out as slowly as that song that we saw earlier when she went missing, and that early thing, because this is the moment where she's supposed to go to each person, and each person is like, okay, what just happened? So it's like that's why I'm saying that this is something where he has taken care about the emotional moments and made them stay, and it's not just this laugh fest that kind of happens. If you enter the movie with an open mind and really get into it, I think this is a fantastically written screenplay, and I really think that this is going to mean a loss for how Beast turns out to be, even if it does turn out to be like I told someone, it's going to be a 50-50 kind of film. Sumit Kulkarni asked how the technical aspects of Doctor are. I thought they're very good. They really, because what Nelson did in Kolamavu was that he enhanced the weirdness or oddness of the movie by using a lot of neon colors, because it's also a kind of a we almost always had a psychedelic kind of background, even inside the house. The Sivakumar Vijayan was the cinematographer. Here it's Vijay Karthikeyan, and he kind of makes it a very quasi-realistic kind of zone, because even the villain's den or whatever it is, nothing is really overdone, and the emphasis is more on the movement of the camera rather than like trying to capture make things look beautiful or look give them a certain tonality, which does happen, but it's not like in Kolomava. So I think the technical work is really good. I thought the editing in places was very good as well, because you kind of slowed down and kind of did things very well. I think the only thing that bothers me in both Kolomava and in this movie was that in every scene you get a 90% effect, what I like to call the 90% effect, as in, had the scene really worked, it would have been 100, but the scene stays at 90. But because the joke is so good, even the 90 works. But I'm like, why? What is stopping it from getting to that 100? I think it's because he lets the beats hang for every moment. He lets a beat or two like go before they get to the next one, and I think that's what it is, because I saw Kolomava Kokela again. I found the same thing happening there. It's like the jokes are great, the writing is good, the cast is fantastic, everything is happening, but the 90% is happening everywhere. It's like it's not touching that 100% except in a few places, and I'm not quite able to figure out why. So yeah, I think that's something that I found in his films. That's the end of the questions. That's the end of this Ask BR. Thank you so much for asking me about Doctor. It's a film that I enjoyed a great deal. We will soon announce the winners of the top 3 questions, who will get fully filmy prizes soon. So stay tuned to our social media handles and stay tuned to Film Companion South.